Hello. Okay. Today, maybe if I can scooch. Gotta scooch my chair up. Today I'm gonna tilt you down a little. Sorry about my hand in there. Hi. How you doing? I'm having a mental health day today. I'm having a really day. So I decided to get my mind off of everything going on. I was going to do the second half of the art video I did the other day. So I'm going to pull these a little close. This is the hand that we did the dirty pour on the other night. And today, let me get a little closer. Maybe it's not going to focus. Anyway, so today I'm going to do the finish on them, which means I'm going to put resin on them. Look how beautiful that is. Look at his little toes. Anyway, so today I'm going to be doing resin on top of these to give it like a glass finish. So we'll put him right there. I'll do the hand over here. Ta-da! That way somebody's waving at you the whole time. Hi, how you doing? Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to use resin to cover these so it gives them a glass finish. It's going to make it really shiny, really bright, really beautiful. I love this finish. So that's what we're doing. I use Envirotex Light resin. That's what I have. That's what I'm going to use. And it is a 2-part resin, 1-to-1 ratio, 1 hardener, 1, resin. And so I have my 2 little cups, and you can tell, you can see there's a little line right here. And I marked them both the exact same way. So I know how to make sure that I have, everything I need. This is going to be kind of a long video because it takes, time to mix it. So we're going to take part A. We're going to fill it to the line. It's just at the bottom of the line. I'm actually fairly good using this product, so I'm not too worried about, mixing it incorrectly, only because I'm very familiar with it. However, if you are not familiar with this product, if you do not have the 1-to-1 down, perfectly, you will. I didn't realize the hand was covering the pouring, but whatever. It'll be tacky, and it won't cure the way that you want it to. So that's why I mark my cups. I could weigh it out. I just didn't want to get the scale out. I'm having a mental health day. I've decided I have a medical test tomorrow that is got my anxiety just going absolutely through the roof. And so, decided to do this to get my mind off of it. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix them together. And when I do that, I take either the hardener or the resin part, and I scrape the cup. I get absolutely as much as I can in the cup. Sorry, this does take a while to make sure that you have it all going correctly. And whatever I don't get out will be okay, because when I'm done mixing in this cup, I will mix in this cup for a minute or so, or until all of the cloudiness goes away, because it does get cloudy. I'd show you, but the camera angle is just not right there, so sorry. Scrape the edges. Make sure you scrape the edges when you do this to make sure that you get everything incorporated. And it's starting to look a little clear. I will scrape my stick just to make sure that I don't have any part A stuck on the stick. But it looks pretty good. So now I'm going to take the part A cup and I'm going to pour the mixture in the part B cup straight into the part A cup. And I'm kind of going and touching the edge where the part A came out of the cup just to kind of get that mixture in there. And then, like I said before, we're going to scrape the snot out of the cup to make sure we get it all I'm pretty crazy when it comes to, I did not put my gloves on. That is hilarious. I always wear gloves when I do resin work. Oh, I forgot to put my gloves on. So what we'll do, since I forgot that, is I'm going to scrape this, set it aside, and put my gloves on. So I don't want to, trust me, you don't want to get this on your hands. It's so sticky and so hard to get off of your hands. You can wash them 5-10 times and it just, unless you do resin work, and if you've done resin work and you know how to get resin off your hands, then by all means comment below and let me know. Otherwise, I try to always wear gloves. And it's in the safety sheet. Wear gloves, wear protective eyewear, that kind of thing. It looks like we've got probably all we're going to get out of that cup out of there. So scrape the side. And stir. And stir and stir and stir. And I'd probably do 30, 40, 50 stirs in one direction. And then I go the other direction. It's kind of monotonous, but it's worth it. It is totally worth it in the end. I love resin finish. And I have way more than I need. Way more than I need, I think. And that's okay, because I have a piece off to the side over here. You can't see that I will be pouring the extra on. That will be an upcoming project. There we go. So, our resin's good to go. This cup is dead. We don't need the stir stick anymore. I got a little bit of resin on me. No big deal. So I'm going to pick up the piece, and before I do that, this is extra resin that I had left over in a cup from doing another resin on top of a canvas or something. I poured it into a mold, so it's a heart, and I put, let's see if I can grab it this way. I put alcohol ink in it just to give it a little bit of color, and I thought it would be great. However, the side is tacky. I did not have my ratio down. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see right there the distorted color of it instead of right there where it's all shiny. That distorted color right there. I didn't have my ratio down. Shame on me. So this is, I'm just going to set it on the, let me pull it back here. I'm going to set it down, and when I'm done resining this, I will set it on top so that there's a space for the resin to drip off of the object and flow onto my beautiful yellow tablecloth. It's plastic. The resin will not stick to this, so that's why when I move it around, you'll see it's not setting on the ground. I'm going to put it off to the side out of the camera view. We're going to do the foot first. And so basically, I'm going to move middle hand and put you over here. And what I'm going to do, rather than pouring it on top, because it gets in the nooks and crannies and then you can't get it out and you don't want to pull in between the toes, is I'm just going to take a little sponge brush and pick some up and then just kind of literally paint it over the top. And you'll be able to see quite soon that, I don't know if you can see the shiny, if the shiny is working, but I can see the shiny. And so, doesn't, it's not a hard thing to do. You just got to make sure you get it in everywhere you want it covered. And there will be bubbles. It will drip. It's got its own little, characteristics. It kind of drips and moves, and kind of like the dirty pour part of it. It'll move, and that's why there's the tablecloth there. You just want to get to where you've got, some in every little nook and cranny so that it's covered, and it's self-leveling, so it'll level itself out if there's a big blob over on the side or whatever. You set it down and it'll level itself out, so you don't have to worry about it. That looks like the foot's pretty covered, and then I'm going to start on the base. And again, I'm pretty liberal with it. Just want to make sure that it, gets completely covered. Even though it levels itself out, I still want to make sure there's ridges in the wood base, so I want to make sure those ridges are covered. And you can pick it up off the table wherever it drips and put it on here, however you want to do it. There we go. Getting close. I'm going to try to hold it a little differently on these two sides just so I can not get like my hand completely covered in resin, because I have another piece to pick up. Not that that's really going to matter. And when I'm finished with it, I will get it a little closer to you. I may actually just wait till I'm completely done with it. And you just hold it in the light, because holding it in the light, you'll see what's covered and what isn't based on the shiny. It'll be shiny where you put the resin. And I'm pretty... Oh, wait. Ah, right there, right at the base. There we go. So that's done. And I just grabbed it. No big deal. I'm going to set that off to the side so it can drip. Give me 1 second. I forgot my paper towels. Shame on me. I apologize. Oh, how rude. I thought I had everything I needed. I like to wipe my hand off just because resin can be slimy. And so I don't want to take the chance that the next piece is going to slide out of my hand and go across the room or something. I don't think it would really do that, but I don't know. All right, so now we're going to work on the hand. And as you can tell, there's still quite a bit in the cup. So I'm going to work on the back half of the hand first. Kind of push the brush between the fingers to make sure that we get the resin in between the fingers as much as possible. And when you do that, you'll see bubbles form. You'll see all sorts of weird little things that you're like, oh, I don't know about that. It's okay, because we're going to torch them off. Fire. I love fire. Stirring the resin together, you get bubbles. You get air bubbles in it, which are okay. So, because there's air bubbles already in it, when you... Let's make sure the fingernails are all done pretty well. You'll see the air bubbles. The air bubbles will pop when we torch it. The heat kind of brings all the air bubbles to the surface of the item. I say item because it depends on, what you're doing, what you're putting resin on, whether it's, a tabletop or a piece of wood or a piece of gypsum, and this is actually gypsum. I called it hydrocal the other night, but it's not. It's gypsum, which means really fancy, expensive plaster of Paris kind of stuff. More solid though. It's kind of like a concrete, and I guess you could say. There we go. Got the back done. Can you see the shininess? I guess you can because the light really reflects off of it. So I got the back fairly covered. I'm just going to do the front of the wrist and then start bringing it around the front of the base over the... God, this is so pretty. I'm so glad I did this video the other night. This turned out way, way better than I thought it was going to. I was not expecting this. I don't exactly know what I was expecting, but I was not expecting this. Okay, so... Dun, 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 dun. And it's okay to wipe off the resin that you've poured on there and, you know, set it aside for a second. Just gonna double check that I got things everywhere. I like it when it pools because it'll pool in a spot that, you know, needs extra attention. Make sure you're covered. I check between, I don't know if I can show you that. I usually check between the fingers to make sure they're not like stuck together. I don't necessarily want any pooling going on right there. Okay, let's move this lid over here. Set him down. And I know he's off camera just for a second. I'm going to set the resin over here. And then I'm going to bring, I don't know why I just wiped my hands off when I'm going to do it again, but that's okay. Basically what I'm going to do now is torch it. And I can't quite get close enough with the camera to show you the air bubbles. The air bubbles are so stinking tiny that sometimes you just won't see them. Fire. Fire that doesn't want to play nice with me. I turn my torch on low. Always on low. Never on high. Okay. Pick up the piece and just really quickly, and you got to be good with your hand. Just want to just barely graze it with the flame, and it takes all the air bubbles out. That's all you really need to do. If you do any more than that, you're going to burn it. I have burnt it many, many times. Burning it does not smell good. Oh, it's horrific smell. It's terrible smell. Terrible, terrible smell. So we're going to put him off in the corner again. It doesn't look like much of the resin is seeping off the side at this moment. That's okay. I will probably let it set. Usually I let it set for about a half an hour or so. And then I'll come back with the flame again. And then spots where it kind of pools in the corners and in the edges, I'll go over those edges again with the flame just to make sure that it's not, you know, crazy bubbly or anything. Not that it really would matter. It's just my own personal preference. Okay, no resin. I try to make sure I don't get resin on my torch, only because there's an off chance that I will like resin the button on at all times, or I don't know. It's just something that I do. Okay, and typically I should have it setting on a stand that's higher. However, I don't have anything to cover the top of it if I go much higher than the small little piece I have. So, yeah, it's all good. Okay. There we go. Again, really quickly, just enough. to get all the bubbles off. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to set the torch aside, and then we'll put the little hand down. Okay, so that is those two. Now, I have a lot of extra resin. I may actually have to grab... Oh, I have another piece. You want me to resin the whole thing?
Just the flour. Well, you could resin the whole thing if you've got enough.
Oh, I have quite a... Sorry, my husband's talking to me. He brought me...
Resin over the whole thing.
He brought me another piece that we did. Oh, it has tabs on the bottom. I may end up getting resin on the felt.
I can change it.
Okay, so on the bottom of all of our pieces, we put felt so that when you set it down, my phone moved when I did. Ew, my phone moved. That's hilarious. Okay, anyway, so we put felt on the bottom so that the wood doesn't scratch whatever surface you put it on. This is a piece we did, and it's got, I don't know about the lighting, it's got these beautiful drips hand painted on here. This is one of our great nieces or whatnot. I can't remember all of, we do a lot of pieces. Anyway, this is her hand, and there's a rose, and this is her mother's hand holding her hand in the alginate so that she didn't pull her hand out. It's a little scary when you're that age. This can be scary. Anyway, so see there's a little hole in here. And so I am going to bring the resin back. And in fact, I'm going to put it on the lid over here when I'm finished with it. So let's do this one. I'm going to start in the rose. I was not expecting to do this one, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter because I actually have a lot of extra resin. And basically right now just kind of shoving the sponge into the holes in the nooks and crannies that are in the rose on the inside, because you want it everywhere. You don't want to just put resin on the outside of it, because then it's just gonna look odd. I don't know. It's to me it's a professional thing. You want it to look professional. You want it to look pretty everywhere, not just in certain spots. So you take the resin and you take the extra time to make sure it gets in all the nooks and crannies. And then it just looks better that way. It's my 2 cents about it. Alright, so now I can start going through the fingers, and again, making sure we get in all those little nooks and crannies in there. And get her little fingernails. When we do these, I crack people up, because somebody will text me and say, hey, what are you doing? And I'll be like, oh, I'm working on a sculpture. It's not really a sculpture, it's a casting, but I sculpt on them. When they come out of the mold, sometimes they're not, 100%. And so if they're not 100%, you've got to get the extra little drippies that just, of gypsum that came out of the mold, and you got to just scrape them off. And so I sculpt them. I have jeweler's lenses I will put on my eyes, and they're very entertaining. I kind of look like Sigourney Weaver in Ghostbusters, the second Ghostbusters, when she's working at the museum, and Bill Murray, I think it's Bill Murray? I don't know if I'm right or wrong. But Bill Murray comes up to her and to say hi, and she looks up and she's got that headset on. I put that on, and I'll use like little, X-Acto knives and toothpicks and dental tools to make sure that I get in all of the nooks and the crannies and get all of the extra, yeah, hydrocal gypsum, whatever, off of the piece so that it looks, you know, the way I want it to look without these weird little thingies hanging around. I don't remember why I started to tell you that. Guess it doesn't really matter. That's part of the fun of having a mental health day. Don't matter. Your brain goes there, your brain goes there, whatever. Alrighty. So it looks to me like the arm is fairly covered. So now I'm just going to start covering the base. I probably should pick it up, but whatever. I think I'm just going to let it sit there. Actually, I could put it on here. Yeah, we'll pick it up right there. There we go. And that does not look like that stayed very well. That rose is dipping down. I don't think it was... I may have to go back over that. I may have to glue it again. Maybe the resin will hold it. I don't know. We'll see. Just looks like it has a little bit more movement than I want, but that's okay. Okay, so get the base, make sure it's all covered. And again, remember, it's going to have bubbles, and the bubbles are okay. Get the back side just to make sure we're all... Oh, hello. Can scrape the other one, no big deal. Yeah, there's... I'm not sure you can see all of the excess, but that's okay. This one was just an extra piece we had to do, so no big deal. There we go. And that's about right for the resin I have left for my other project. Let me wipe my hands off, make sure I have resin. I don't know if it matters if it's on the counter, but nah. Okay, so that's trash. I'll put you into the camera. Oh, and I've got more resin on my hand. Resin gets everywhere. It's just everywhere. Blah. I do see a drip. I want to get that drip off that rose. You know, honestly, I should leave a drip there because maybe I'll just put that right back there because there's these drips going down the hand. It might be really, really pretty aesthetically to have a drip of resin just hanging. I don't know how well it'll stay. I don't know that I really... There we go. Okay. Derp, 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 derp. Flame. Okay. And something you need to be aware of, because my tablecloth is plastic, if you get too close to it, you will burn a hole in it. You will shrink it. It will shrink on you. Okay, so let's get... There we go. I think I want to get that drippy gone, and there's pinky dripping. There's some right there. You can kind of, once in a while, you'll see smoke. It looks like smoke. It's actually just you're heating up the piece. Okay. So, enough with the torch. No more torch. I'm going to scooch this one to the side. Okay. And now... I need to get. I probably shouldn't have put all of that right there because I need to put the next piece there, but whatever. I should have got cups. I'll be right back. I'm going to go back there and get a couple cups because I did not use my brain completely for the next piece. So, pardon me again. Shame on me. And if you happen to see behind me, that's my next video. I have a beautiful piece. I'm getting ready to do another dirty pour on. It's another casting. It's a much bigger casting than the hands and feet. So I am going to give a shout out to another YouTuber that does dirty pours. I've watched her channel for a while, and she did something. I saw it. I thought it was cool. So I'm going to do it. Mickey Art it was the coolest thing. She took milk jugs, like a gallon milk jug, cut it into pieces, put it in the oven, and she did a dirty pour on top of it. So, ta-da! I put this picture on my Instagram, I put it on my Facebook, I put it on my Twitter, telling people I wanted to do, another art project. And I didn't get a lot of reply. This is a canvas. And what I'm going to do, actually, I'm just going to not even use the brush. I'm just going to pull it. Oh, I'm just going to kind of drop it in a couple places. Oh, that was a little much. Just going to pull it around just to make sure I get a good adhesion. What I'm going to do, that is a really big corner, so maybe I'll put this one over here. Dun, 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 dun. I'm just going to lay this down on a canvas. It's like a chipboard canvas or whatever. And I'm not even going to hold it down. I'm just going to kind of squish it to a certain degree. Just to get it to stay. And that, my dear, is that. The resin will harden. It will keep the piece attached to the board. And we'll go from there. I think we're as good as gold. I have a little bit of resin left. I can put, a little bit in a certain spot here. Just kind of make sure that it gets in the little holes. I don't want to fill the holes because I want the open cavities. I just want to make sure that, and I do that right in front of the, hello, how are you doing? Just enough to get the resin to hold the plastic, and then we'll do another project with that. So we're good. All of the pieces are done. I am going to kind of pause the video and turn it around so that you guys get to see what we just did. Hold on one second. Okay, we are back. Sorry about that. I had to change them a little. So what we did here, this is what we've got. Just put resin over the top of it. I'll walk around. Sorry, the camera is not very steady. And that's what you got. Right in there, you can see where it's pooling, you can see all the little bubbles. That's what we use the torch to get rid of, is all those little bubbles. I'm not going to be able to do that on film or on camera because I'm too petrified to hold a phone and a torch at the same time and make sure I don't burn the piece. But there we go. There's that one. And here's our little hand. And you can tell from the other video that we saw, or that I did the other night, where I did the dirty pour on these, that it stayed pretty much the same. It kind of changes slightly. More things develop, like these knuckles are a tad bit lighter than they seemed in the other video. Could be my lighting. Could very well just be that, you know, it's different. They do change. That is like my favorite part right there. But if we go up the hand, see if I can steady my hand a little. Can you see it? Just looks like a little galaxy. I love it. Here's our little milk jug. Flattened sheet we're going to do a project with. And then here is our foot again. And I think on the foot, that right there is one of my favorite spots. And you can see the reflection of the light on it. It doesn't seem like much. However, it's going to look like glass when we're done. See the little, like a whirlpool in there where it dripped down. Here's the top of the foot again. Oh, my hand is really not steady. I'm going to turn it one more time and get up on these toes. This right here just looks like a galaxy. Looks like little veins, the little crackle effect on the toes. And there you have it. There are pictures of them. Look, you can catch just the edge. Oh, I guess not with the chair. There's a little bitty drip off the edge of the rose. You can see it on the pinky. Little bitty drip that I'll get off. All right, give me 1 second and we will turn around. Hold on one moment for me. Okay, we are finished. We are all done. I'm going to move the foot over here. We are finished resining our pieces. They need to sit for, it says 24 hours. I try to leave it 24 to 48, closer to 48. I will take something and put it over the top to cover it, just to make sure that dust and debris, you know, from around, dust and debris just doesn't, you know, get on top of it and you end up with a dog hair in there, or, you know, a moth flies in or something. You don't want it to land on there and get stuck in there. So I will leave it covered for about 24 hours, take the cover off just to double check it, and then let it set for another 24 hours. Thank you guys so much for coming and watching me today, for having some fun, for entertaining my mental health day. I have a couple other big projects that I wanted to do. I'm not sure if I'll get them done this week. It just depends, you know, every day how I'm feeling and what I can do. However, today I did fine. Oh, this is so much fun, and I love sharing this with you guys. If you have any questions about the pieces, comment below. Like the video, subscribe to the video. I'll have more art projects, more paintings, more dirty pours, more crafting and whatnot in the video. So subscribe if you want to see more. Like the video, I already said that. Comment below and tell me what you want to see. What do you want to do next? What do you want to see next? Other than that, I think we're done for now. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me. Bye.